On June 6th of this year, the UFC announced a sister company focused on submission grappling, known as UFC BJJ. While Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is an integral part of the UFC itself, separating and making it its own event is a very unique and new move by the UFC, and here's everything you need to know about it. The show begins on June 16th of this year with an interesting concept. The show itself is a reality show, kind of like The Ultimate Fighter, with two coaches in Mikey Musumeci and Rorosan Gabriel. There are two teams, both lightweight and welterweight, living together and training together, as well as competing against one another. While we don't know much about eliminations or anything within the reality TV show, the UFC BJJ Instagram account released a graphic showing the round format on Tuesday. There will be 3 5-minute rounds, mimicking their UFC counterpart, as well as a 10-point must scoring for each round, differing from other BJJ promotions. The last thing I want to dive into before I get into the coaches, UFC BJJ 1. And the people competing. Here's a little bit more about the grappling matches themselves. Fighters are paid bonuses for submission finishes rather than just wins. There are also no points during regulation, incentivizing submissions much more. If a match goes to overtime, each athlete is given a dominant starting position, and if neither win by submission, the fastest escape is deemed the winner. Also, instead of being on a traditional mat, the UFC has made a pit-like bowl that has an angled, sunken-in walls that not only prevents fighters from rolling out of bounds, but also keeps the action centered. This is a very unique and innovative take to BJJ from the UFC, and one I am personally excited to see. The UFC plans to host an event titled UFC BJJ 1, headlined by the coaches of UFC BJJ Road to the Title, Mikey Musumeci and Rorosan Gabriel, taking each other on for the inaugural UFC BJJ Bantamweight Championship. There are 16 competitors on the show, 8 lightweights and 8 welterweights, yet to be drafted to their respective teams. I'll be briefly going over what there is to know about each of the 16 guys competing for a chance to participate in the beginning of UFC BJJ. I'll be starting off with the lightweight cast members, beginning with Keith Krikorian. Keith began training MMA in high school, leading him to jiu-jitsu, also leading him to his school's wrestling team. Keith has been a quick learner since he was boxing at the age of 9, picking up jiu-jitsu quickly, competing in the pro grappling circuit since he was a colored belt. Professionally, Keith has a record of 59-22 with 39 submission wins, an impressive resume heading into the UFC BJJ's birth. Next up, we have Gianni Grippo. Grippo is a prominent name in the BJJ community, having multiple IBJJF Nogi World Championships to his name. If you thought Krikorian's record was sweet, get ready for Grippo. He has a record of 264-77 with 91 submission wins under his belt and only 8 submission losses. Grippo is a big deal, or at least should be, on this show. Next up is Kaivan Gonzalez, who doesn't have a crazy amount to find about him online. From what I could find, Gonzalez co-founded Bodega Jiu-Jitsu in Maplewood, New Jersey, and has a record of 11-8 with 2 submission wins, and walks in as a bit of a wild card. I'm excited to see what Kaivan brings to the table of this show. Next up is Carlos CH7 Enrique, and he has a very interesting background, starting his sports career with soccer as a child until he was 13, then finding jiu-jitsu after seeing his neighbors walking to a jiu-jitsu class. From there, it was history, and Enrique found his love for the sport. He got his nickname CH7 after Ronaldo, often referred to as CR7, and his love for the star. Enrique has a professional record of 63-29 with 20 submission wins, and could become a fan favorite of the reality TV show with his personality. Danilo Moreira is one of the younger stars of the show, coming in at just 28 years old. He's been doing jiu-jitsu for 20 years, starting at the age of 8. Moreira is considered one of the leading athletes of his generation in the sport, hosting a 64-38 record with 26 submission wins. Moreira is an interesting part of the show, getting the chance to represent the younger guard. Next up is Mauricio Rios, one of the most unknown on the show. Rios just 26 years old with a 4-1 record professionally. At least that's the only thing I could find online. In his 4 documented wins, Rios has won all by submission. So we will see what is to come of him in the UFC BJJ reality show, maybe an early young star. Isaac Doderling is up next, and doesn't necessarily need an introduction, being one of the more well-known names in this video. Isaac is known for his dynamic ground game, which is what made him so favorable in the fans' eyes. With an impressive 123-42 record, with 72 submission wins, the second most in the division for UFC BJJ, I'm excited to see what Isaac can do on the big stage. Last but not least for the lightweight cast is Josh Cisneros, the youngest of the lightweight cast and potentially the most promising. Cisneros has a very good armbar, one that has won him 5 professional fights. Cisneros has a 47-24 record with 23 submissions and is coming off a win this year from his castmate and previously mentioned Gianni Grippo. Moving on to the welterweight cast. To start off the cast is Andrew Tackett, maybe the most exciting name on the list. At just 22 years old, Andrew has a staggering record of 38-3 with just 1 submission loss. This is technically the best record of the video so far, and he is by far the youngest as well. The fun part about Tackett is, if marketed right, he could be one of the first GOATs of your sport and could be the face of it for a very long time. Next up is Jason Nolf, who is the biggest wild card of the entire video. Nolf is a wrestler. He had a 176-1 record in high school, then wrestled at Penn State, boasting a 133-4 record there, as well as a 3-time Division I national champion. He also trains with Bo Nickel, if you wanted that piece of information too. When it comes to BJJ, there's little to nothing out there on Nolf. Not sure what to expect from Nolf, just excited to see it happen. Andy Varela is the next name to go over, and he's a more prominent MMA fighter than BJJ specialist. He was on the King of the Cage back when he was 23, but seeing people from all walks of life make it to this stage is so interesting. Andy is 43-17 with 20 submission wins, around the middle of the pack with his record, but could put on a show with his MMA and wrestling background. Davis Asari is next, and another wild card here. At just 23 years old, he's listed as a purple belt online with 74 wins, which isn't unheard of, but he would be an underdog on this show. He's also from Norway. There's nothing in particular about that. I just wanted to say it. Next up is Elijah Carlton. He's in the same boat as David. Not a lot on the guy. With 9 recorded wins on his record and a black belt in BJJ, there just is the least amount of info on him compared to everyone else. I'm excited to see an American on the show, though. I'm not going to lie. Same thing with Aaron Wilson. 35-year-old American black belt, 6 wins. Not sure what's going on with the back half of this cast. Austin Orenday is next, and he's a leg lock specialist from Texas, and we will see how he meshes with the rest of the cast, an encounter I'm excited to see. Austin is 113-80 with 85 submission wins. While it's the second most submission wins of both casts, it's also some of the most losses. Orenday is an interesting character for the show, so don't count him out yet. And last but not least, to end off the video with a bang, with no information besides that he's 28 and has 3 wins, is from the US of A, Nathan Haddad. Yeah, there's nothing on this guy either. I really hope you guys enjoyed my deep dive into UFC BJJ, and I hope you guys enjoy the free reality show on UFC BJJ YouTube channel, as well as UFC BJJ 1. If there's anything crazy that comes out or anything like that, I'll let you guys know. Check out my UFC 316 recap, and don't forget to subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.